I'm your host, Jefferson Nunn. I'm here with special guest Curtis Boyd. Could you introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. My name's Curtis Boyd. I'm the founder of Objection Co. I consider myself a reputation technologist. I specialize in detecting fake reviews on the internet on various business listing sites like Google, Yelp, TripAdvisor. I do a lot of work in NLP and big data.
Awesome. And so we were just talking about how just technology has been growing so rapidly, and most folks are just, it seems like, just not aware of what it can do for them, how it can value their lives. Can you tell me more about that?
Sure. Yeah. So I was doing a just kind of having a discovery call with a software partner in the industry. Our applications do totally separate things, and this was really more of an introductory call so that they can learn about what we offer to the same audience and what they offer to the similar audience. And at the end of the call, they had verbalized their desire to grow and to outperform a competitor in the market. And I asked, I was asking them if they had considered using AI and machine learning to improve the quality of their product, to do something that their competitors don't do, and to make basically a predictive model to predict certain things about events or triggers that occur, and so that they could have a more refined product, a more valuable product. And to my surprise, this was the first time they'd ever heard of the idea using machine learning and AI to get involved with in this use case. So yeah, it was super surprising. Ended up putting a pilot together for them, and just kind of showing them like what the pilot should include and all this stuff. We'll see if we end up doing it or we refer it to a partner. But it's an exciting time right now, because I think a lot of people are coming into awareness. Like, I have this data and I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z with this data, and I feel like people are starting to wonder if AI can solve this problem, or if AI can help segment this data in a more meaningful and productive and hopefully profitable way.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, that's part of one of the interesting challenges that we face is there's almost information overload. There's so much information coming in from so many different sectors and channels, even for your own company, where you can, I didn't even know you could improve your reputation online. So how do you get past the noise? If you have an innovative product, how do you get past the noise?
Sure. Early on, we had a cool product. It doesn't do nearly as much as it does today, but early on we had a cool product, an MVP. We went to market, and we kind of just sat around hoping people would hear about us and contact us and, say, hey, I love your product, I'd love to learn more. And what we found is that the marketplace is so busy, you need to create noise. Like yourself, you have to have a strategy in order to start scaling your business. So we put together a really cool prospecting system to prospect ideal customers. And then we put together a really cool sales script, and we started hitting the phones. We started introducing ourselves. We started to create awareness of what problem we believe they had and how we solved it for them. We offered free trials, where we could get them into our application to see how everything works, to see what the communication looks like. But yeah, at first we sat around twiddling our thumbs until we figured out a sales process in order to start enough conversations. And what I like to say today is, until we started hearing a lot of no's. It's like, a lot of people are like, oh, they're going to say no. It's like, it's not a bad thing to hear a no, because you're at least getting to the decision phase, which comes after awareness. Like, first, you want to build awareness of what the problem is and how your solution solves it. And then if you're already getting them to the decision phase and they say no, that's great. You need to have more of those conversations where they're saying no, because eventually, with enough refinement in your prospecting, with enough revamping of your messaging and your content, you're going to get some yeses. And that's what happened with us. We got enough yeses so that we could start to afford consultants to help us with copywriting, consultants to help us with sales, consultants to, to help us be more time efficient and to help, help our engagement. So it really is just struggle until you see a little bit of success. A lot of people can't afford to reinvest that initial success though. They might have bills, rent, payments, maybe be in debt, who knows? And so a lot of people will say, oh, I need that money to spend on my new Mustang or my new car that I want to buy, right? Such a bad mistake. You got to reinvest it right back into that company so you can scale the company. So I feel like if I could teach myself a lesson, it would be to stay away from all the flashy objects and reinvest into the company and not get distracted with a bunch of fun toys.
Yeah, awesome stuff. I think we talked a little bit more last time about how you got started. You were working with a group of doctors, and that's you want to just tell us that story again?
Sure.
How you got started and the whole industry.
Yeah, so about 9 years ago, I was a student nurse in a hospital, and I was precepting in my last semester of nursing school. I ran into a surgeon who was doing a consult in the ER who, after his consult, started complaining about a fake review that was hurting his private practice. I started complaining about my student loans, and we were both pretty upset. He kind of jokingly said he'd pay off my student loans if I could figure out how to solve this fake review problem for him. And I was a student nurse. I didn't know about contracts or business agreements, nothing. I just said, doctor, I can do this for you. I got this. I talked to my mom who worked at the hospital. She knew the doctor, said he was a stand-up guy. So I wrote via email, doctor, I'm taking on your challenge and I hope you make good, right? 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours go by. I'm getting nowhere. I'm calling every human being I can, yelling, emailing, threatening, everything I could do as a 22-year-old student nurse. I got nowhere. And what I also discovered is that a lot of other people run into the same problem. They get nowhere when trying to get this illegitimate review removed. I had $700-800 in my account at the time, bought a plane ticket to San Francisco, flew to the headquarters of the company, and I started introducing myself to people who walked in and out of the building. Excuse me, do you work here? You do? Okay, great. Do you know how to remove a fake review? I need your help. I need your help. Hundreds of people, as they walked in and out of the building, no, I can't, no, I'm sorry. Like, do you need money? Are you homeless? Are you crazy? Like, what's going on? Like, no, I'm not homeless. I have a doctor in Los Angeles who has a fake review. I need help removing it. Do you know how to remove a fake review? I could tell a few people knew how to help me, knew what to do, but they just didn't. They didn't want to. They were too busy, whatever the case was. But I had hope because I felt like some people knew. So anyway, I checked into a hospital, did the same thing the next day. Same outcome. I ran into even more people I feel like who could have helped me, but no one did. Anyway, I had a blast in San Francisco. I was young, it was fun, it was hostile, right? On the last day I was there, I didn't know it was going to be my last day, but I ran into a girl who sat down, took me to a local coffee shop, showed me what I needed to do step by step. I went back to the hostel, did what I needed to do, and 48 hours later, I had a check for $32,000.
Wow.
Yeah, the doctor happened to be on the board of directors for the entire physician network. So before I graduated from nursing school, I had over 700 physician clients for monthly reputation management. Yeah, it was an exciting time.
That's great. And I think that's a lesson in almost like MVP. How do you get from 0 to 100, right? You build a product for an existing market, or a service in this case. So same deal.
Yeah.
So, but now here's the thing, you have reinvested into the company because now you're even adding AI, ML, you're adding all these amazing new features. But I gotta say, I mean, what do you think is next? I mean, they have everything from quantum computing to, I don't know, you saw Elon Musk, he's got a guy walking around pretending he can do a job, actually the robot, pretending he can do a human job, right? So what do you think is next in this world?
I don't think it's going to be pretend very long, especially in certain industries. Over the next 50 years, I see, taxis, Ubers, truck drivers, people who work in fast food, A lot of other industries, grocery clerks, the list goes on. There's actually a really great list online too about this. But those jobs are going to be phased out with automation, with robots. Robots will be doing those jobs. A lot of places, robots are already doing these jobs, and they're slowly scaling it out as they become more aware of the benefits of having robots do these tasks. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, we're going to lose a lot of jobs. There's a really amazing theory. I'm trying to remember the name of who came up with this theory, but it's like displacement theory. As people get pushed out of one job, they get pushed into another. They just don't realize it yet. My understanding that a lot of people may go back to school to learn a new trade, or may fall into a position somewhere else that they're passionate about. But yeah, I believe that once a problem is solved, that problem may have been solved, but it also unknowingly creates more problems that need to be solved. And so it's this kind of game of cat and mouse with problem and a need for a solution. As we create more solutions, we also create new problems. So hopefully it's never ending, and that there's always going to be jobs. I believe that to be true. So
I would tend to agree with you. I think in some ways, COVID just accelerated some of those changes. All these people literally got paid to stay home for a year, let's say. I know one guy, one guy told me about his family, and for the most part, like 3 or 4 members of his family took that time to improve their education. They went online, they took some online classes, they learned programming, they learned graphic art, they learned, actually one guy ended up going and finishing his project management certification that he always wanted to do. And, that's a great career, project management. We need a lot more of those. Granted, one of his family members is still vegetating at home, playing Call of Duty. There's always going to be a few of those. All right.
Oh yeah.
But that's the thing. Even if you look at it statistics-wise, from this one family, 4 out of 6, one of them's going to stay at the job they're at, but 4 out of 6 retrain for a better career. And these are people that were formerly driving Ubers and doing crap jobs. And I think that's why that's the other statistic almost parallels that. 50% of the people don't want to go back to the job they're in, that they were in. They want to go back to something better, something more meaningful. So, which goes back to, I think, the initial discussion, which is, all right, so do you think we're going to see a lot more advancement with like quantum computing, maybe something even more amazing coming out of that?
Yeah, I've got some limited exposure. I have a friend who's really intimate with quantum computing and says that their prototypes are doing like small little things, but nothing major yet. But that's all rumor, right? So who knows how advanced they really are behind the scenes at these giant tech companies. I think there's 3 companies that I'm aware of that actually have something going. I think it's going to be a few years before quantum computing becomes more of a thing. And at that point, they're going to own cybersecurity, because everything can be basically hacked instantaneously because of the dramatic overpower of computing they'll be able to do. I think that's a really exciting time for those people who are in cybersecurity to kind of prepare for quantum computing, because it's going to change the internet, and I believe, and a lot of other things as well. But
I think the inverse will be true as well, that yes, existing system could then be instantly hackable, but the inverse, you'll be able to make a hack-proof system at that point, which would be great, because I think hackers know more about me than I know about me right now.
That might be true.
I'm terrified to see what's really out there on the so-called dark web. Yeah, haha. But I know for cybersecurity, they're also projecting millions of jobs that are needed actually right now that they can't even hire anybody for. There's nobody available.
Right.
Anybody that goes into that space, I've watched, they're instantly hired.
Yes. Cybersecurity is going to keep growing too, in my opinion. It's going to become more and more important as we invest more and more into our cyber infrastructure, our data pipelines, the way that we exist as a human society.
And that's the thing, it's all going there. And I think that leads back to, you have to have a good reputation to maintain. And there's only one way to maintain a good reputation, and that's to use your system, right?
So don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of what we've built and what we've done. There's I don't like to say the word skinny cat because I don't like the idea of skinny cats, but the metaphor though, right? There's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one road to take to get to the same destination. There's a lot of different approaches you can take to online reputation. Some experts have their best practices that they recommend. I certainly have my own best practices that I recommend. Our application is very specific in that it's more of a reputation intelligence platform versus a review solicitation platform. Our platform doesn't solicit feedback. It doesn't get new reviews from your customers. Our application is really geared for larger organizations that have a lot of existing reviews, so we can let them know if these reviews are legitimate, if these reviews are real or fake. We can tell them a lot about their customer journey by looking at feedback. We can take a look at which part of their business is earning lots of bad reviews, right? Which it's normally if you think about a business as like a machine, there's gears, right? From the time you walk into a building and then by the time you leave a building complete with your product or service, there's an entire customer journey throughout that. And a lot of businesses have that systematically set up with protocols and steps. So if we were to segment each step based on what a review says, then we can identify, which step within a business is getting a lot of feedback and whether that feedback is positive or negative. So our application is really more of a reputation intelligence versus a solicitation. In my opinion, both are extremely helpful, but they're really just tools on a tool belt. Understanding the fundamentals, prioritizing customer experience are going to be more important than anything else. Making sure that your organization has a culture that is driven on making your customers happy, you're going to have the best reputation no matter what tools you use. So it's for us, we're always trying to educate our customers about this mindset, this customer-centric mindset, and a better way to do business.
Excellent. Awesome. And I think that's been one of the key missing steps that some founders overlook, because they're so busy engineering the product, they don't always think about, what the overall customer journey is going to be with that product,
Yep. I like asking, and then what? And then what?
Right.
It's a simple one. It's a simple question. What's going to happen after this? What's going to happen after that? Because you really get to put yourself into their shoes, and not only, amazing experiences rarely happen on accident. Normally they happen because you've planned them and you're really mindful and intentional about what you're about to put your customer through. And hopefully you've been really intentional. You've got a well-greased system, because after you deliver an amazing experience, it's a lot easier to get feedback online, whether you're asking for it or not. You've inspired them. You've inspired your customer to write this review. So that's the best practice.
That's awesome. Well, any final thoughts or tips you'd like to share with our audience today?
Sure. I've got a fun quote I like to give out. It's stop marketing and be remarkable. Don't worry too much about the tools. Just focus on being remarkable. You should be all set.
Excellent. Well, it was great to have you here today. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Sure, Jefferson. Thanks for your time today.